Yet Austin, Texas. Soon to be Austin, Texas, but all the way from deep, dark Chicago.
Yes, sir.
We have the photographer in-house, the traveling troubadour, the poet extraordinaire, Janet Kuypers.
It's Kuypers, rhymes with Kuyper. Like you can.
What happens when you have a bunch of degrees after your name?
That means you know how to. I'm going to do 3 if you want to cut me off at 2. I totally understand because they're long. This is a shortened version of a lot of pieces. This is called Communication. Now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. Our pleas become computer blips, tiny bits of energy traveling through razor-thin wires, traveling through space, to be left for someone to decipher when they find the time. I checked my email recently, and the people that I actually email the most are the people that live in the same city as me, all of whom I know the phone number of, all of whom are only a local call away. In fact, one of my friends lives on the same street as me, a block and a half away from me, and I still email her as much as I call her, even though I could just walk down the street and have an actual face-to-face conversation with her. Because now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out in the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. But what if we don't want to communicate or forget how? Too busy leaving messages, voicemails, emails, text messages, forgetting to call back. What if we forget how to communicate? I was at a bar with some friends, and I was explaining why I hadn't talked to my friend Erin in a while. You see, we usually just email each other, and when we do, we just hit reply. And so one of us can just send the other a letter and have a question at the end. And then you'd see that and you'd answer by hitting reply. And you put another question at the end. And so we just kept answering each other's questions back and forth like this. And we just kept replying to each other. But once I got an email from him and there was no question at the end. So I didn't have to send him a response. So I didn't. And we never thought to start a new email. So we just lost touch. Because no matter how many different forms of communication we have, we still find a way to lose touch with one another. Because now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. People want an instant message. People buy their name as a domain name. People get email accounts. People set up web pages. And you know, I have a cell phone, and I have a landline, but my phone isn't ringing off the hook. It's like I've gone fishing, sat on a boat at a lake, put out the baits, and no one's biting. I wanted to get in touch with an old friend of mine from high school, Vince, but the last I heard is he went to Marquette University, but that was years ago. He could be anywhere. I talked to a friend or two who knew him, and they lost touch with him too. So I searched the internet to see if his name was on a website or if he had an email address. He didn't. So I figured I probably wouldn't find him. And all this time, I knew his parents lived in the same house they always did. I could just look up his parents' phone number in the phone book and call them, say, hi, I'm an old high school friend of Vince's. But I never did. And then I realized why. You see, I could search the internet for hours and no one would know that I was looking for someone. But now, with a single phone call, I'd make it known to his entire family that I wanted to see him enough to call after all these years. And I didn't want them to know that. So I never called. When I was young, I felt like the world was the size of a thimble because all I needed to know was in my backyard when I played with my neighbor. But once I was on my own, commuting on to my Chicago job on the L train, I suddenly felt as tiny as a dot in the universe, crammed like a sardine in an L train tin can, saving money for a road trip to Omaha, Nebraska. The idea of buying a brie sandwich to eat at a street-side table in Paris, or skipping the nesting dolls for a Bellalica in Russia, or photographing a finch in flight in the Galapagos Islands, those dreams seriously seemed a solar system away. And since then, I've pieced myself together. I've screamed my stories from rooftops. I've etched my words into stone. And no one hears me. Because now that we have the information superhighway, we can throw out into the open our screams, our cries for help so much faster than we could before. But then the question begs itself, who is there to listen? Thank you very much. I'm going for my very emotional one. This is called Death Takes Many Forms. It is winter now. The trees have lost their leaves. The city is covered in a thin layer of soot and snow. The grass is dead. In the sunless sky, blackbirds circle overhead, searching for prey. An eerie cold settles over everything. Nothing is growing anymore. Death takes many forms. For you, death first came when you were 5 years old, and your mother had to give you 3 shots of insulin a day, and until you could take a needle to yourself. Did it hurt to push that needle into your arm the first time? Or did it hurt you more to know you had no choice? Death takes many forms. Death can be someone telling you without trying that they're losing their eyesight. Behind Coke bottle glasses, you'd see me and say, "That's a nice black suit you're wearing." And I would tell you, "It's green." And you wouldn't believe me. You wouldn't hear the howling wind of the changing seasons. Death takes many forms. I know what follows the autumn wind. It is winter now. Do you remember when it happened? The changes are subtle. The temperature drops first only slightly. It's almost imperceptible. Only when the first snow falls do you realize where all the seasons have gone. Death takes many forms. Death can be a sweat-soaked shirt, the shakes, dizziness when you needed food. You would look as pale as a ghost as I would hold your cold, wet arm and study you. Quick, some sugar will make everything better. Isn't everything better yet? Death takes many forms. The signs of death can come when you lose your circulation. "My feet are numb, Janet," you'd say. I can't feel my feet anymore." And I would rub your feet for you. And you would say, "It makes a difference. You feel better." If only I could do this forever. Death takes many forms. I said goodbye to you to travel my own road, but I didn't think it was the last goodbye. How was I to know? When I left, I knew you didn't want me to go. And now it's my turn. Why are we always saying goodbye to each other? Are you trying to teach me a lesson? Because if you are, well, I've learned it. You can come back now. Death takes many forms, and now it seems you take me down with you. Now it seems you take me down into that casket with you, and I'm running my hand along your jacket lapel, and I can feel the coldness of winter all around me, and I can hear them shoveling the dirt over my head, and I want to get out, and I want to take you with me. Death takes many forms, and death can be that hole you left, you know, right over here, just a little to the left. I keep wondering when the pain will go away, when everything will be better. You once showed me that winter could be beautiful. Instead of the darkened, dirty snow lacing the city streets, you showed me a quieting snowfall over a lake at your parents' backyard, glistening in an untouched whiteness. I told you I hated winters, and you told me, this you don't hate. Well, I'm still learning. It is winter now, and death takes many forms. The seasons change for you and I. It is snowing, and something is ending. It is snowing. Somewhere, it is snowing.
All right.
face happened at
Hey,
the
that
end.
was deep.
I know. Thank you. It was, yeah, that's, I guess, the way to put it. This is called True Happiness in the New Millennium. Sometimes it seems the more I ask for, the less I receive. The only true freedom is freedom from the heart's desires. And the only true happiness this way lies. I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium. I'm the new savior, the savior of science, the savior of strength, the savior of survival, survival of the fittest, survival of the best. And I'm here to tell you that we're starting anew. So fasten your seatbelts, hang on to your hats, place your seat trays into their upright and locked position, for it's a bumpy ride. And I'm here to tell you why. I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium, a millennium of reason and logic and strength. And I don't want to hear about your self-destruction. I don't want to hear about your whining, psychosis, your depression, suicide, alcohol and drugs, and just what made you think that playing with needles and escapism would make things better somehow. God, I've always hated needles anyway. What is it with you people? Well, you need a leader, so I'm stepping up to the plate. You keep asking for a big brother, and I'm here to set you straight. You want someone to wipe your noses for you? Well, pick up the damn tissue and do it yourself. Because when you give up your rights, you take away mine, and we're not having any of that. I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium, and you say to me that you need crystal meth so that you can stay awake through work. And you say to me that you don't need a drink, that you just like the taste. And you say to me that with all your escapism, you still don't feel any better. And you say to me that sometimes suicide is the only answer. Well, I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium. I'm here to usher in a whole new generation. So stop asking for things and start working for things. Because X is for ecstasy as long as it's fast. And X is for extra, but there's always a cost. And ecstasy doesn't come without extra work, no matter how many corners you cut. And you know, X is for X-ray. And I see right through that. They say that Eve ate from the tree of knowledge, but you know, she shouldn't have stopped just there, because the loggers are raping the trees of knowledge. The loggers are raping the force of talent, the force of ability, the force of reason, of skill, of logic, perseverance, and life. We're letting them rape the force of excellence. And you know it's now time to take it all back, because I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium, and I'm here to tell you how it's going to be done. You keep looking for peace in all the wrong places, and you're asking your leaders to save you from yourself. But your leaders are looters, and they're worse off than you. I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium. It's time to take charge. It's time to fess up. Only you can deliver you from your own sins, but first, you must know what sin really is. Take it in your own hands, true people. Mold your own tools. This is the new millennium, and this is your chance. No one should be showing us how to fail. People mastered that feat a millennia ago. So set your own rules and do something fast, because it's time to take charge, and it's time to be alive. It's time to make choices. It's time to lay claim to everything that we've been blindly giving away, because I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium. Take charge of yourself, and I'll take charge of me. I'm my leader, not yours. Swipe your own damn noses. I'm here to usher in a whole new millennium, and I'm waiting for you to usher in yours, because true happiness this way lies, my friend. And I won't wait long if you lag behind, because I'm setting my rules, so step out of the way. I'm here to tell you that there's a new sensation, and I'm here to tell you that there's a new salvation. And the only true happiness this way lies. Or you're just standing here.
Well, you know, we've got them lined up out here, so I think one more would be just fine.
Okay. Only because you said so. This was a piece I did in the most recent feature.
We got a rule. We got to be out of here by 11:30.
I know that's
that came out at 11:14.
This is something I did in my last feature. Last one. And I've got one more feature at Gallery Cabaret in 2 days, if anybody wants to come by from 7 to 9 p.m., hosted by Dave Ketchum. This is a piece called Other Souls. Other souls litter history books. I wish I was Joan of Arc, carrying her banner in battle, giving divinely inspired advice to the men under her command. And I wish I was burned at the stake for my beliefs. As the flames rose to a Roman nose, I wonder if she ever knew her ultimate power. I wish I was on the Titanic. Oh, that sounds so like me, being the rich elite on the first cruise across the ocean. But I wish I'd gone down with them. I don't care what passenger I am. The point is that people will study the disaster that I was in for centuries. Books will be written, movies will be box office hits, all from me being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I wish I were my ancestors, Marie, Avshi, Petronella, Johanna. I wish I was in the resistance, like them, to save Jews from the SS during World War II. I never lived through their struggles, but I'd gladly take their place to fight for something, even if it meant being killed by the Nazis. For what? For trying to save lives. I wish I was on flight 175, just another one of my trips across the country. I'm getting used to airplanes. It's actually quite a nice morning. Come 2001, come all the damage I have seen so far in my life, maybe this would be a good way to go. I haven't seen the World Trade Center since '95. Wow, what a view this flight is giving me. Maybe I'd hear from a neighboring passenger's phone call about the hijackers. No matter. I'd see the inferno of the North Tower before I'd take part in a big inferno myself. Some time to panic, and then, like that, it's over. Years later, my name would be cut through metal, memorialized around the fountains of the once tallest buildings. Yeah, it would be quick, but people would come to this New York intersection by appointment only and run their hands around the letters of my name. After all this pain, they wouldn't forget. Other souls litter history books. Some may have been great. Some, as I said, may have been at the wrong place at the wrong time. And after I've been attacked, and after I've been almost killed, what? I've pieced myself back together. I've screamed my stories from rooftops. I've etched my words into stone. And no one hears me. And if they do, no one will remember.
All right.
She could have read all night. She has the sexiest voice I have heard. She reminds me of like a 1930s or 1940s movie starlet dressed in satin, laying on a dynamite little couch, just talking to the men out in the world anywhere that she sees and making them want to touch themselves. Man, you ought to do like movie things or something, I tell you. Wow. That was fantastic. Thank you so much for coming tonight.